Hello YouTube friends! Here's another video about ukuleles. The ukulele saga continues. I have a new ukulele that I just ordered. If you followed what I previously did, I started by ordering a Kala solid mahogany tenor ukulele that I returned. Then I had a Fender Nohea that I ordered and returned, and now on my hands I have a Kala solid cedar top electroacoustic ukulele. The other two that I had in my hands were completely acoustic ukuleles, meaning no pickup in them. So I just wanted to report on my comparison and findings between all three ukuleles for those that might be shopping for one in this price range, which is basically sort of between, let's say, $300 and $400 in the United States or 300 and 400 euros in Europe. So what do I think about this ukulele? I think it is pretty well made. It has a nicer neck than the other two, nicer intonation. Can play really high on the neck, which you would expect with a cutaway ukulele, and it still holds its tuning, which for the solid mahogany acoustic tenor Kala ukulele was definitely a problem on the model that I received. The Fender Nohea tenor acoustic ukulele was better in terms of intonation and the neck than the mahogany Kala, but this one is even a little better yet in terms of intonation all the way up the neck. One thing that I liked a bit better about the Fender Nohea was that the nut was a little lower. To me, the nut on this Kala is a little high, and on the Kala mahogany tenor that I had, solid mahogany by the way, the nut I found also was a little high, even higher than on this one. Another thing that surprises me about this is they call it a tenor, but it's definitely the smallest of the three. Now, certainly partly because of the cutaway that I have that impression, but not only. It is a little bit harder to play up the neck because of the size of the frets. And according to the measurements, there is only 1 millimeter of difference, supposedly, in the length of the strings between this one. So this one they say is 431 millimeters. And the Fender Nohea tenor they say is 432. It's surprising to me that it's only 1 millimeter of difference, because it seems like more to me, but I don't have the other one to measure. I did measure this one, and it does measure 431, so I imagine the 432 is correct. But I did appreciate having slightly more space between the frets on the first two ukuleles that I had in my hands. And generally speaking, concerning recording ukuleles, if you're interested in recording, I do a lot of recording myself. I recorded this one on a track on which I had recorded the Fender Nohea tenor ukulele. And what struck me is, and it's also something you can hear online on those sites that may have comparisons between the sound of the two, is that I find that the Fender ukulele had more highs, more high frequencies, you know, like 8 kilohertz and up, and the Kalas have more, compared to the Fender, of the upper mids, meaning like 2 kilohertz to 5 kilohertz. So what I was finding is that, in my opinion, for my recordings, the Fender was nicer for strumming, meaning as a rhythm instrument, because it didn't have this mid-range, upper mid-range sticking out to get in the way of the vocal or the lead instrument, and that the Kalas were nicer for being a lead instrument. So that's my opinion on the comparison between the two, and that holds for both of the Kalas. They both, this one even more with the cedar top, the other one with the mahogany top a little bit less, but they have this upper mid-range that sticks out that makes it sound a little more upfront, making it a better solo instrument or a lead instrument if you want to play a little solo on the ukulele, but less of a rhythm instrument to me because it tends to interfere with the lead instrument, whatever is carrying the melody, vocal or guitar or whatever. And another thing of note on this ukulele that I received is a little glue job there on the nut. It doesn't seem to really affect the performance, but it looks like it might have been repaired after coming out of the factory. Otherwise, in terms of the way it was manufactured, everything looks really good. The other thing is that when I first got it, the amplification unit or pickup unit here where the volume and tone are had a bit of buzz to it. So I had to play with the screws a bit to get it to stop buzzing, loosening a little bit, tightening a little bit until it finally pretty much went away. But that can be a concern, and when I read reviews online for electroacoustic ukuleles, it seems to be quite a common issue. And I have an electroacoustic guitar as well, and I have had that issue with it as well. Although at this point it's I have been able to solve them each time, so it's not impossible to go beyond, but it is something to take into account if you're hesitating between a totally acoustic ukulele or an electroacoustic ukulele. Of course, if you want to play live, having the electroacoustic option is really, really practical, because playing live with a mic in front of your acoustic guitar or ukulele, frankly, to me is quite annoying. So the gain in sound quality to me is not at all worth worrying about how far you are from a microphone and all that, especially if you're already singing, which is often the case for me. So I think the sound of the electronics in this unit are pretty good. I was able to set the tone pretty much. I have no qualms about the tone, just a little bit more treble than bass, and it sounded nice to me. There is a slight sort of noise even after I got totally rid of the buzzing, but I don't think that it would bother you at all live. It's mostly for recording that it might bother you, and I see no interest in using the electronics on these units for recording personally. I always mic them up, so that's not a huge issue. The last thing that I wanted to say is that compared to the other two, again, the other two ukuleles that I tried were totally acoustic. They didn't have a pickup in them. This electroacoustic unit, when it's used acoustically, I find lacks a bit of resonance, and to me it's pretty clear that that's related to the fact that there's a cutaway, so there's less wood, less of a resonant cavity where the cutaway is, and also because of the electronics being not wood but metal and kind of foreign to the whole mechanics of sound resonance that are designed into an instrument like this. And on top of it, in an acoustic guitar, the pickup elements are about the same size, meaning that for a very small instrument like a ukulele, the electronics weigh much more in terms of both weight and size and shape inside the ukulele. So that was the other thing that I was hearing when I was recording this acoustically and comparing to the Fender, was that I felt it kind of lacked body and resonance, and I just explained why I think that's the case. So I think I'll stop the video here. I think I'm probably going to be sending this back and maybe ordering another Fender Nohea, but we'll see how it goes. So there you have it. I hope this was helpful to somebody out there who's looking at the same price range of ukuleles as I am. Cheers!